Put your heart out, put your brother next to you. Stop.
Hello and welcome to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside head coach Pat Narduzzi. I'm Casey Garrow of Pitt Studios. Coach, you go without your starting quarterback in the loss to Miami, number 13, Miami. First time without Kenny Pickett starting QB since September 2019. But Joey Yellen steps in, 22 of 45, 277 yards and a touchdown. Talk about his performance at the number 2 spot.
You know, it's never easy coming in as a backup. I think, he hadn't got a ton of reps all through the week. I guess throughout the beginning of the season, and for him to come in and play like he did, and again, the most impressive thing was just the maturity he had in the pocket, his confidence in his receivers, and really the touch passes that he made. I mean, he made some nice throws to his receivers. He had a couple overthrows. He had a screen that, we just got to touch it down a little bit more, and it could be a big play. So I was happy with Joey's performance, in his first game, and we expect more in the second week if he is a starter.
You mentioned he won the starting job in practice, but we got to see redshirt freshman Davis Bevel, also redshirt freshman Joey Yellen, so they're competing for that spot. Will you continue to see how practice goes, or did he kind of secure that number 2 spot?
Well, Davis definitely has a secure spot at number 2, but Davis would like to be number 1, and we'd like to continue to see that competition go. And we'll look at the practice this week. See what happens with Kenny, and then find out what those two do practice-wise. And you got to love Davis because he wants to compete. He wants to be the guy, and that's great for your football team.
And I say number 2 because you can never count Kenny Pickett out.
No doubt about it.
He's a tough kid.
The fake to Sibley, the toss in the end zone, easy pitch and catch, Daniel Moraga.
During postgame, you mentioned some drop passes, penalties, not running the ball well. But again, that's going to happen in games. How do you teach and coach discipline, you and your coaches, during practice?
It's really when you see something happen during practice. We got referees out there during practice, 3 or 4 of them, not 9 or 8. So you try to focus on it there, but you don't see many penalties in practice because the speed is not like it is on a game day. Things happen so much faster in a game. Our guys and our coaches have got to do a better job at eliminating some of those things, and they're all one time. It's not like you had 4 running into the returner. Once that happens once, our guys are staying away, and and sometimes you don't see that called either. So there's, it's all one-time type deals that you have to live and learn with.
You have to be happy, though, because it's things you can clean up, self-inflicted wounds that you can clean up again for Notre Dame.
No doubt about it. I mean, you just hope there's not a different kind Saturday against an outstanding Notre Dame football team. So we've got to do a better job, and we got to get more speed into practice if we can. And that's the kind of the thought this week.
Once again, I'm bringing up true freshman Jordan Addison, 8 catches for 147 yards, his first 100-yard receiving game at Pitt, of course. Talk about him and being a bright spot on this offense. Yeah,
I mean, he's a guy that you can trust. I mean, he almost caught another one down the sideline as well. That was just a little bit. And again, it would have been a tough catch for him to make it, but he kept a lot of patience and didn't let that corner be able to find the ball before he did. But Jordan Addison is a football player. We saw that last spring. He's continued to be very consistent in the way he approaches the game in the meeting rooms and on the field. We just got to keep him rolling because he's special.
5 trips to the red zone, 4 field goals. You mentioned you don't want to see Alex Kessman too much, even though you like him, but he did a good job, so a special shout out to him going 4 for 4. How do you correct this moving forward in practice and then against the number 3, Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's been an ongoing issue this entire season. We'd be undefeated if we'd score more touchdowns when we get to the red zone, so we just got to continue to focus on when we get it down there, getting the ball in the end zone somehow, some way. And you watch where we got some one-on-ones, whether it was AJ or Vince Davis, we've got to get in the end zone. We run out of bounds one time, and it's like that. It's an electric fence there. We can't get to that goal line. Somehow we got to find out a way to get in the end zone.
Coach, the defensive line played very well, 26 tackles, 2 sacks. They were able to pressure King, very tough quarterback. He's very physical, mobile. They were able to do that. This is a group that continues to be very dependable for your defense. Talk about their growth and the depth from a Rashad Weaver to a DeAndre Jules, who we saw on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we've got depth at that position, and again, we've even got guys hurt. I mean, Jules is a guy playing really last 2 weeks with some significant time. Obviously more time last week than the week before, and we're hoping to get a little bit healthier there this week against a great Notre Dame team, especially their offensive line. So it's going to be a battle, the O-line versus the D-line. That'll be something to look at. But Rashad Weaver and Patrick Jones lead that group. They're the bell cows of the D-line. they need to continue to lead those guys, and they're going to be real important this week.
King quickly, that one's up for grabs, and it's intercepted. That's Paris Ford, 15, still on his feet, down to the 12. Huge play for the senior, or the junior rather, from Pittsburgh.
Overall, like I said, the defense did play well. You mentioned that in your press conference. 3 of the 4 touchdowns of Miami were over 35 yards, so just big splash plays. How do you look to defend that against Notre Dame?
You know, we'll see some of them. We got to do a better job, number one, of not just showing our defense the plays that the other team runs, but show them what they could run. And sometimes you got to be, a little bit creative of, hey, maybe they do this or maybe do that. So that's been the message this week, is to show them more of what they may see, not necessarily, because when you break down tape, you're looking at, different defenses, so you don't know how they're going to defend, or how they're going to attack our 4-3 defense. But if they're smart, they're going to do some of the similar things, and we've got to do a better job at, taking that stuff from what we've seen and learned in the past and putting it on our defense during the practice week.
Yeah, both you and Phil Campbell mentioned they ran a play that you had never seen before. A lot of people thought it was the same play, but it was actually slightly different.
Yeah, it was definitely, same type of concept, just different formation. They dressed it up a different way, bring in a different angle, and again, we got to do a better job at defending those plays, and again, we got to do a better job at showing our kids that in practice.
Well, thank you, Coach. We're going to resume in a bit. We're going to talk about number 3 Notre Dame coming to Heinz Field with some of a crowd in place, which will be exciting. We'll be right back on Pitt Beyond the Script.
King to pass, Pitt brings just 4, and it's intercepted.
And another turnover that gives Pitt field position inside the red zone.